Coach, if you should open up with some general thoughts about the first day.
Yeah, honestly, great first day. The player run practices this summer and really the leadership of Mike White, I think, was the storyline of today. Just the continuity from spring ball was carried over, and actually they took it to a whole nother level in terms of their recollection of what we were doing schematically on offense. So I was really pleased with that work that we got this summer and seeing that carry over. And really, honestly, that was my number one concern going into camp is you install a very detailed, somewhat complicated offensive scheme. It's tough to sometimes take that three month-ish hiatus and then come back out here and execute at a high level. And I'll say even really after 15 practices in the spring, our execution offensively I felt was even better than it had been through 15 practices in the spring. And that's a credit to Mike White because we can't be out there practicing with him. You can't do that, obviously, per NCAA rules. So for those guys to take ownership of those player practices, the throwing sessions, I thought there was some really good stuff, just synergy with the quarterback and the receiver. The other thing that I thought, just off the top of my head, offensive line, certainly I felt like was the most improved unit going from spring ball to fall camp. It's day one, we're in helmets, there's no pads on, I get that. But just in terms of their communication, the five guys working together in unison, was really, really pleased with that group. Defensively, I think that we have some really good pieces today. We got to fit the run better. Was what I thought today, and play top down in the secondary. Not give up those big plays down the field. But very pleased with the overall energy and the work that they did in the offseason. I felt like there was no major conditioning issues whatsoever, and we got out of day one completely healthy.
What Mike did with the offense in this play run practice, how much did Marcus Ward really do with the defense leading that group?
Yeah, I think it was big for Marcus just not having gone through spring ball physically. It was big for him to just get those communication reps. Obviously, without the coaches out there and without helmets, those practices are going to lack a physical nature, but it doesn't lack a communication nature. And that's what Marcus is that guy in the back end of your defense that really is the vocal commander of that whole unit. And I think having him back and having worked through the player run practices, I think that made his transition even easier.
It's your first fall practice as a head coach. Did you get a lot of sleep last night, or how jittery were you? How excited were you?
Yeah, it's kind of a holiday for me. Since I was going into my freshman year playing tackle football, it was my first year of actually organized tackle football. My dad, he held me out of tackle football in youth leagues because I was about 6'2", 145 pounds as a sixth grader. So didn't have the body type to play tackle football. And since then, I don't know that I've ever really slept the night before the first day of practice as a coach, as a player. But I'll tell you what, I got to bed pretty late last night. I was at the office getting some work done, and I hit the pillow. I was out, and I blinked, and it was 6 a.m. ready to rock and roll. And so I was excited, and loaded up the coffee full of the coffee cup, and we were ready to go.
So the word ball a lot. What's that all about? If you can tell us.
No, it's good. I think it's just fun for us to just have a little bit of humor about that. But it's there's a lot of John Gruden impersonations that go on in our football office, and that's kind of trickled down to Mike White. He loves the Gruden talk. He likes talking about Tanny Hill. Is his guy that he always talks about. And so when we were in Dallas at the media deal, it was awesome. Mike showed me his screensaver on his iPhone, and it was just a black screen, and it was capital B, lowercase ALL, period. And I thought that was awesome, just because he couldn't wait to get back to ball. And for us, it's just really it's a sentence, it's a paragraph, it's ball. And it really defines what these guys love to do.
Gruden's available. I mean, maybe you could give him a call. He said he wants to get back into coaching.
Yeah, I think
invite him out for a special instruction.
It's pretty neat. I have a lot of respect for him because David Shaw was groomed by him, and so I got a lot of the stories and also a lot of the offensive lineage of the West Coast, offense, passed down through David Shaw to me from John Gruden, and I've had a great deal of respect for him. He's actually probably one of my favorite people in the profession. He's doing pretty well for himself in the broadcasting world too.
Now that day one's in the works, what are you looking for just in day two?
Day two, defensively, want to see better run fits. We were really good this spring in our run fits. I think it was those guys were geeked up, ready to play, ready to just run through their gaps. as opposed to seeing how the new gaps are created with the movement of the offensive line. But just to get our run fits where they need to be, and then playing more top down on the secondary. Obviously, I'd like to see a lot of growth out of that kind of third group. Offensively, there's just we're not to the point where we're really a functioning group, but that's to be expected because there's a lot of freshmen they're playing their first snaps of football, and I think I saw some shaking knees and hands in the huddle, and I put myself back in that position. We have so much fun playing this game, coaching this game, but you got to remember a lot of these guys are coming in and taking their first college snaps with a head coach in the huddle, and that stuff, it doesn't seem intimidating to me, but it certainly is to a first-time college football player. So we're just got to get that group, just more comfortable so we can operate in practice. But there's some really exciting pieces that I saw from some of those young guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.